Back here on The Herd, joined now by a special guest. One of the real good guys here at Fox. I mean, they're all good, but I've known TJ Houshmandzadeh for a few years. He trains NFL prospects in the offseason. He's got a radio show, Up on Game, with LeVar Arrington and Plaxico Burress. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well.
Looking kind of dapper.
Trying to be like y'all.
Yeah, right. I follow TJ on Instagram, and I saw you coached your son in basketball this weekend. Always fun. Coaching your kids in sports is exciting.
That's fun. Reluctantly, that was last minute.
Yeah.
First and last.
Yeah. All right, I don't want to go too negative on the outset, but man, this Nyheim Hines story with the Buffalo Bills is awful.
Sucks.
He out for the season, jet skiing accident. He wasn't even driving. I don't know. We've talked a lot about the running backs and what's going to happen. Is this a feeding frenzy where all of a sudden agents are like, hey, Dalvin Cook, let's get him over there? Like, do you think somebody instantly fills in for Nyheim Hines in
Not
Buffalo?
Dalvin Cook.
No.
And you know why, right?
Yeah, he's going to get paid somewhere else.
Why would Dalvin Cook go to Buffalo when his brother has has an opportunity to step into a starting position?
Yeah.
And so I don't think Dalvin Cook would even think about going to Buffalo with his little brother being there. And obviously the money is going to play a factor in it, but he's not going to step on his brother's toes that way. At least I wouldn't.
Kareem Hunt, maybe?
Very possible. Kareem Hunt, Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
There's guys out there that if Buffalo really wants to run the ball and change the way they play offense, you go get one of those. Kareem Hunt has a lot of tread on his tires because he shared time and he can catch the ball. The way they want to play football in Buffalo, I mean, you just don't know what they're going to do with Ken Dorsey, the OC, and Stefon Diggs complaining about not getting looks, even though he's getting more looks than everybody else. You just don't know which course they want to take.
I want to go to a wide receiver situation. So Justin Jefferson was asked to name his top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. You're already laughing. He didn't list Kirk Cousins. I thought it was out of bounds. Cowherd is like, Kirk Cousins is not top 5. I'm like, it doesn't matter. TJ, you were on the Bengals catching passes, and a reporter said, give me your top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Is your Bengals quarterback in that list?
Well, he's on the list because he would have been top 5. Carson, for sure.
Right.
But
fair.
I don't understand what Jets was thinking. Like, you got to name your quarterback in the top 5, even if you don't. That's just like going out with a bunch of friends and they're like, hey, who's the best looking woman here? And you don't name your wife. Like, what? Like, you have to name your quarterback in that top 5. Kirk Cousins is going to say, oh, it doesn't matter. But deep down, he's probably like, damn, like, really? You have to throw him in there. It doesn't matter. You put him 1. You know he's not 1, but you have to put him in there just because he's the guy that's throwing you the ball.
Have you watched any of the quarterback documentaries?
It's funny, man. I watched a couple episodes, and we were just talking about this the other day. I just started watching the other day. I really like Kirk Cousins now because of this.
Everybody's
I like Kirk Cousins because of the show, and I didn't dislike him. I just didn't know him, and I still don't know him, but it makes me feel like I do from watching. It's like Kirk Cousins is really a down-to-earth, chill type of dude. This show makes me like Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, he's like, his stock seems like it's up across the board. Now, what's interesting is, Kirk Cousins may be leaving Minnesota after this season. You think there's a big market for him? I mean, it's a tough time to, not have a quarterback, but they got a good class coming in with Caleb Williams and company, college kids.
You can have a good class coming in. If you're not picking in the top 5, does it matter that the class is good? Minnesota's not going to have that type of record to where the quarterbacks coming in matter to them. Kirk Cousins, will he have a big market? It'll be big enough. He's a starting quarterback in the National Football League. He's a top half starting quarterback in the National Football League. And so he'll have people that want him. Now, the amount of money that quarterbacks are getting, I'm not paying Kirk Cousins $50 million a year. I'm not doing that. But would I want him as my starter? If I don't have a top-tier quarterback as my starter, absolutely I would want him.
So you like Kirk, but you don't love him. Would you say, top 5 quarterbacks in the league, is he on the fringe? Is he in there?
No.
Not even fringe?
No.
10?
Probably 14 to 17.
Whoa, jeez. 14 to 17?
Man, there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the league.
Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins?
Oh, come on now. I'm taking Kirk Cousins.
Right. Dak Prescott or Kirk Cousins?
I'm taking Dak.
Is that close, though?
It is somewhat close. It is.
Tua or Kirk Cousins?
I'm taking Tua.
So you don't like Kirk Cousins that much. You just like him on the Netflix show.
I was a fan of, I've always thought Tua was a good quarterback. I said this last year prior to the season, he would play well, and he was playing very well until the injuries. I like Tua. He's accurate. Every quarterback needs weapons. When a quarterback doesn't have weapons, you got to get him an offensive line, you got to get him a run game, you got to give him a receiver. And then when you get that, you forget that he needed all of that. Now it's all the quarterback. This football is the ultimate team game. It's 11 on 11. You need everybody doing their job. And so, but I'm taking Tua over Kirk because I like his accuracy. He's played in big games. He's got to stay healthy.
Now, I mentioned that you work out with NFL prospects leading up to the draft, and I will never forget, I think it was a COVID year, that you were working out with some guys, and Zach Wilson happened to be there ahead of the draft, and you raved about his athletic ability, which we've seen flashes of. Didn't quite work out at quarterback. Are you surprised at all or not really?
You're never really surprised with the quarterbacks because you just don't know what they're thinking. And when you have failure, some guys can deal with failure and let it go, but let that drive them. And other guys, they just can't. And so you never know. But he played at BYU. He hadn't played that level of competition, and then you're the unquestioned starter. I don't think you should do that. Make him earn it. And he's really not going to earn it, but you say he's going to earn it. You're going to give it to him, but make him feel like he has to earn it. But on the bright side, if he is the player that he wants to be, you're going to be behind one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. You better learn. Yeah. You better learn. Because all these quarterbacks are coming up, they mimic Aaron Rodgers. Everybody that throws the ball now, they mimic Aaron Rodgers. Nobody talks about it. They mimic him. And so learn.
Rodgers didn't have a great year last year following the 2 MVPs. And a lot of people are saying, hey, Russell Wilson went to Denver. This learning curve is steep. What's your best guess at how Rodgers does in New York? He's got a questionable offensive line, but good receivers. He knows the OC, although I don't know about Hackett. What's your best guess on Rodgers?
I think he'll have a tremendous year. I believe he'll have a really, really good year. Garrett Wilson's going to have a great year. Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. He's an offensive coordinator as well. I mean, I've talked to guys that played with the Packers last year, like literally, they'd call a play, and Aaron Rodgers would be like, okay, I want you to run this, I want you to run this, I want you to run this. This is what we're going to do. Like, in the huddle. Like, this is the play call, but I want you to do this, this, and this.
And is that because of the defense, or he just didn't like the play call?
He just didn't like the play call.
Huh.
And so Hackett knows this. Hackett knows how Aaron is. So Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback and the offensive coordinator. But I believe the Jets will win 11, 12 games.
Really?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he's that good. And the Jets were a fringe playoff team without him.
7-3, I think.
All their best players are young. Yeah. All their best players. Man, if you watch him do interviews, he's just rejuvenated. He has an energy about him that we hadn't seen in a while. I expect the Jets to roll.
Wow. Who do you got winning that division? Bills, Jets, Dolphins? I won't even mention the Patriots.
That's tough. But if I don't know who would win it. You got to see the injuries throughout training camp. But for me, it's going to be the Dolphins or the Jets for sure. I don't think Buffalo will win the division. I think they've been so good for a while, and they just haven't gotten over the hump. And now you had this Stefon Diggs situation with Josh Allen. They're going to try to force him the ball. And when you try to force him the ball, bad things can happen. Because if he's not getting the ball, he's going to act a fool. He's shown you that.
Do you know Diggs at all?
I do not. But
Interesting.
When we don't get the ball, we don't like that. Like, I played with Chad. Chad was one of the hardest working players ever. If Chad didn't get the ball in practice, it was a problem. Practice.
How did Carson handle that?
Oh, Carson's personality is cool. Like, we just want the ball because we only get it 5, 6, a good game 10 times. And so you want to affect the game. That bothers guys when you feel like you can do more and you're not.
It's interesting because Josh Allen came out and was like, this is so overblown. This is a media story.
It's not. How is it overblown when
the coach,
you go to mini camp and they send you home? That's not overblown. You guys did this.
Yeah, you went to mini camps. Can you ever remember somebody going to camp and then not showing up at practice the next day?
Nah, unless they're told not to. No. I mean, guys get attitudes. Like, that's just what we do. Like, you get frustrated at times, but go home. You hadn't been there the whole offseason, and the day you come back, it's, nah, get out of here. Like, you're still dwelling on this after all these months? Get out. It's going to be a problem.
Bills fans probably a little nervous watching that. Interesting.
But Josh Allen his personality is, he can handle this. I will say that. He can handle it.
Sure?
Yeah. It's just a matter.
He seems like a nice kid.
He is, but he's not a punk.
No, not at all. But don't you have to be a bit of a punk to deal with a punk?
No, you just got to be able to understand personalities and soothe his ego. He can do that. But will you do it to the point where now I'm forcing balls to him that should be going to Gabe Davis? That's the problem. Now the game is on the line and he didn't get as many targets as he wanted against the Bengals. Now I'm going to force this ball to him because I don't want him to be mad. You got to be careful with that.
Huh. Interesting. Who was the biggest diva you ever played with? I guess probably Chad.
When you say diva, like it's almost like
somebody's like whining because they're not getting the ball.
That's not whine. That's one to help. I mean, I could say myself. I mean, Chad was, myself. Like, we all want the ball. Like, the receivers that have great reputations, Larry Fitzgerald, he wants the ball.
But he never.
He's going to say something when the camera's not on him. Yes, absolutely. Everybody wants the ball because you want to help the team win. Like, that's just what it is. And so I don't call it a diva. I just call it wanting to win.
Well, how Antonio Brown, we could call him.
But he feels like if I'm getting the ball, we win. And if I'm not, it's probably a problem. It's going to be a nip and tuck game. That's how we think.
So when you're working out with these guys in the offseason, can you tell who's going to be one of those I need to get the ball guys?
Honestly, to a certain degree. But we work out. We train a ton physically. But I try to talk to him about the game within the game just so that you don't make the same mistakes that I made and other guys have made. Like, once they start talking about your personality over your production, that's the beginning of the end. And so I don't want none of these guys that I deal with to have to go through that situation. So we'll train for a while, but we talk a lot about a lot of things outside of the game that pertain to the game.
Last week we had one of these websites put out a list of the top 10 receivers in the league. And it was a pretty solid list, but Deebo Samuel was not on the list. And I made the argument to Colin, like, listen, there's a lot of stats. 2 years ago, I think he led all wide receivers in yards from scrimmage, yards per catch. I think he broke the most tackles among any wide receivers last year. And Colin gave me a lot of pushback. Like, Deebo's not top 10. Where are you on a guy like Deebo Samuel, who's not a traditional receiver?
Deebo's a football player. Like, would you say he's a top 10 receiver? No, but he's a top 10 football player in the league, offensive weapon. Like, he's not a guy that it's 3rd and 8, one-on-one, you saying, okay, we don't have to move him in motion. We don't have to put him in a tight split. We can leave him outside and he's going to go get open. He may, but he's not doing that like Devontae Adams or Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase type. But he's a hell of a football player. But the receivers, they're better than they've ever been. They're coming in better than they've ever been. It's so many good players. It's tough. When you're outside, like Ayuk, nobody talks about Ayuk can play. He's on the same team as Deebo.
Yeah, no,
Ayuk can play.
Yeah.
And so Calvin Ridley didn't play last year. He's not a top 10 receiver. He'll be one this year. He's that good.
You got bumped somebody out. Like Scary Terry McLaurin's in there.
Calvin Ridley is better than a lot of dudes that's in that top 10.
Interesting. Who last one. Who did you work with? Anybody this offseason that we should take a look at coming into
receivers?
Rookies, yeah.
Oh, it's no question. Michael Wilson. Arizona Cardinals. He don't have a quarterback as of right now. But you talking about get open?
What round did he go in?
3rd.
Michael. So fantasy flyer or no? Because they don't have a quarterback.
I don't know how their quarterback situation is, but anybody that has trained with us this summer and all these quarterbacks that have seen him, they know. Nobody's stopping him one-on-one.
Nobody? Wow.
Nobody.
How did he fall to the 3rd round?
Because he went to Stanford. He had an undrafted grade in December, just so you know. Undrafted grade. Injuries. Didn't play a ton because of injuries. And I'm biased, though. I am biased. I've trained him more than any kid that I've ever trained. And so,
well, I remember you were early. TJ, again, I'm one of those sponges. Like, anytime I see you, I'm asking you about guys. And you had told me keep an eye on, I think Chase Claypool was the guy.
Yeah.
And he comes in as a rookie with the Steelers, and, like, he didn't do a lot early, and then they started getting him involved. I was like, holy cow.
Chase is a guy that he looks as if he's covered. Just got to give him a chance. That's Ben Roethlisberger's MO. Oh, let me give my guy a chance. he may look covered, just throw him the ball. He's going to make a play. That's Chase Claypool. And so he needs to be with a quarterback that I'm going to just give you an opportunity and you're going to make the most of it. And he's going to do that.
Can Fields do that?
We'll find out. I mean, you need to do this in training camp. That's why Chase Claypool has to get off that physically unable to perform list so that they can develop this in training camp and not during the season. Give him some 50-50 balls, and they're probably 70-30 when it's Chase.
And they got DJ Moore. Bears are kind of a surprise team, maybe.
That division is a coin flip.
Who you got winning the division? Go ahead, say it. Don't say
Detroit.
Packers. Detroit. Okay, everybody likes Detroit. Yeah. All right. Well, TJ Houshmandzadeh, amazing stuff. Listen, this guy's got good. Michael Wilson, huh?
Michael Wilson. He's cold. He nice.
All right. I'll
Quick,
take your word
big,
for it.
nice. And he's a great person.
Good person. That matters a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Alex Curry with the news.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.